People, we're back with the Yu-Gi-Oh show, and we've got the best man himself, the branded fusion enjoyer, the Ash Beta. Oh my days. Introduce yourself, please, bro.
Thank you for the kind words, man. So much gas right off the top. I'm Gazo. If you don't know me, I did mostly branded Despia competitive content. Now, kind of moving towards like general competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. Big fan of the show. Happy to be here once again. Really enjoy my time with you guys last time, so I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it's really awesome having you back on. It's always nice. One of the things that's been really cool is getting to re-interact with some people that normally I wouldn't have got to have a chat with. So yeah, it's cool to have you back on. Sure. But yes, I know you do talk about all sorts of competitive stuff, but I think one thing that would be really cool to talk about is branded, this format. So as we know, guys, it's Phantom Nightmare format and branded. Look, I've been on DB a lot, and do you guys know who Nightfall is on DB? Yeah.
Yes,
he's like consistently like very high rated, and he plays branded. And this guy has been rattling me every time I play him on branded. I'm playing Snake Eyes and Rescues and stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, this deck is so hard to deal with. Like the deck has been doing absolutely bits. And I know you as well, Andre. You've been playing a little bit of branded recently as well. So what do you think about the deck, this format, guys? How's branded doing at the moment?
Galzo, it seems only right that you tee this one off.
I'm the most biased, so it makes sense that I'll start this off. I talked about this over on my channel a lot. I think it has been discussed, and we actually have seen, we're probably going to talk about the UDS at some point today. We've seen that sort of like the only resistance is coming off of branded. We also saw this in Costa Rica, I think, where it was only like Voiceless Voice and branded. Personally, I think that the deck just is, first of all, unhit completely. So just branded fusion and the branded engine as like cards are just extremely powerful. And I think this is why, and combining that with the fact that branded doesn't inherently lose to the interruptions that Fire King puts up, I think that combination just makes it so that you don't really have to stick bodies on the board in order to win. It's not like you have to link climb or like tribute stuff. You just mainly play from your deck and graveyard, which is kind of comfortable. So I think this is why branded is naturally doing okay. And I do want to say this, like taking this with a grain of salt, because I think while it's a good competitor in a meta where Fire King is like tier 0 or the absolute best deck above everything else, it's still, and I think we saw that also on feature, it has a lot of inherent flaws. And it takes a very like specific approach to like know how to play against Fire Kings. So it's good, but I'm personally like, I want to experiment with more stuff. So I'm having fun with like other decks, but it's very good.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, Andre?
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's branded's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it kind of ignores, not wholeheartedly, but a lot of the things that kind of cripple other decks, which is why I feel like it's a bit of a stronger pick for this format, as well as Gimmick Puppet of Nightmare just being completely ignorant. And shout out to the reprint as well. Like everybody's seen that reprint. I seen their faces just drop like, oh, here we go again. Like
it was going to the moon as well, wasn't it? Like at least in America,
it was getting bought out, and I was thinking, what's going on here? But like, yeah, it's a good pick, I think, at the moment, and obviously we've seen it perform. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think with branded, one of the things that I really like about the deck is the fact that it really is very skill intensive, and it rewards pilots who know that they're doing very well. Like one of my best friends who's been playing the deck since Structure Deck Albaz, and like you played him at locals, Fabs. Like he's nuts with the deck. Like
he battered me.
Yeah, he doesn't even practice that much just because his life's busy. But like Brandy's just one of those decks. Like I say, like if you know what you're doing, you're going to get so rewarded for like seeing the lines, and you can just take wins off the back of like things like Mirror Jade and Dragoon, but also just like Lost is a hell of a card as well. Like
Lost is crazy.
A lot of the branded cards are nuts, and I really like how the deck evolves, to be honest, because Branded's a deck that's gone from like almost like a more mid-range control deck to like what's in the big combo variants with all the gas and the more degenerate versions with the puppet locks, and now it's just kind of in this like this place where it really seems to have like found its footing, and this seems like we're in a bit of like I don't want to say Branded endgame, but seems a bit like that, and I think the deck's cool, and obviously Albaz is the boy. So.
And you're getting more support as well. We know that there's at least one new support card coming out.
That's scary. A lot riding on that.
Yeah. The thing about Brandon is it's one of those archetypes where the support can either be like incredibly cracked because there's so much potential, or it can be like really stupid. So it's like we have no idea.
Probably going to be the latter.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of hope so.
Like a flavor card.
Yeah, like at this stage, I'm worried that if it does get more support and it's really good, that it will just that'll be the thing. Konami's like, you know what? Screw it, Branded Fusion to 0 or something.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. But yeah, just on what Dan said as well, one thing I think that really is helping it in this format as well is Branded Lost. Actually, I think that in a heavy hand trap format, Branded Lost is such a uniquely problematic card. Like if you open like 3 hand traps and none of them are Ash and they have Branded Fusion. Like now suddenly you just open 3 bricks basically, like they're doing nothing against their board. It's so peak. And I do think that's really huge. And kind of moving on as well, talking about that UDS, we saw obviously Andres Torres. This guy's been like, he's been like a magician with that deck for how long, and he made it all the way into top 4. And it was a shame watching his match though, because it's kind of sometimes. Yeah.
That hurt. That really hurt. I mean, I'm always going on Twitter after like feature matches where like it for some reason, no shade to anyone.
Yeah.
Every time there's a Branded feature match, I'm like so hyped as if I'm sitting in that chair. Yeah. And they always manage to like send a Lulu for cost from Yugioh to do some stupid misplay like that, and I'm like sitting in my chair and I'm like, no, people are gonna laugh at me so hard.
Yeah.
But who knew Called By and Foolish Return outs the entire Branded board exactly like that.
It really, really does. Yeah, it's such a shame. And that's the thing as well, because like it's just kind of peaked. Like, I think he lost Dyro game 1 as well, didn't he? So it's like, there's only so much you can do going second already, and then game 2 that's the worst feeling. Like when you lose game 1 and you lost Dyro, it's like damn, because I'm gonna go first, but now they definitely will probably have something to do with my board.
Yeah.
It was extremely unfortunate.
Sorry. I'm going to restart the recording. I have to change. Sorry.
Where did it cut off?
It just got off now. It's because my memory went full. My drive just got full, so I have to change the storage. 1 second, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, flip's sake. I need a new computer, guys. I'm sorry about this.
You and me both.
I have 3 hard drives, and 2 of them are red right now because they're that full of memory.
Oh, wow.
What have you got?
Okay. 2 things, a lot of games, but then also I don't delete my YouTube videos just in case, because I don't trust YouTube to hold them, which means all of my YouTube videos, I have them just archived on my hard drives.
Wow. Ain't this what people pay for Google Drive?
No, it'd be more expensive. The cloud storage is more expensive than native storage. Sorry, I'm just going to...
That's wild.
Just checking where exactly.
My YouTube videos just go off into the EFAT, and you can just re-download them. But I couldn't imagine.
I trust YouTube. I don't know. No, I delete every single thing. I've got nothing.
I'm ready to start. Basically, cough just when I was talking about losing Dyro, so I'll go back to there. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all
right. Dan, count me in again, please.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. So you lose Dyro, and it's really peak when you go first, you lose Dyro, and then game 2 is like, what's going to happen? Or if they're going first and then you lose that game, and now game 2 they're going to have side. So it was really, really a shame for him, but he did really. I still think watching him play was really, really a privilege. He did do a really, really good job making it to the top 4 of Branded, and the only Branded player as well in top 4.
Yeah,
the only Branded. I don't know if he was the only one who made it into top cut, or if he was the only.
Was he the only one who took Branded?
He might have been the only one in the room. I don't actually know. But I think that he had 2 things. Okay, so first of all, the fact that he played against pure Snake Eye and not Fire King Snake Eye, I think that was the major problem, because when you're dealing with, like, let's put Ash Blossom to the side. If you're dealing with the Fire King end board, it's just removal. just removal and maybe an Arvada, but the Arvada comes in later.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with Snake Eye, and Juan knew exactly what he was doing, he put up a line to Baron and Savage so he can have like actual negates, because removal doesn't matter in that matchup. He played it fantastic. So that was the first problem. The second problem was that Andres drew really bad. He drew one Cartesia, a bunch of spells, including Thrust and Branded Fusion, but those get negated, and he also had Ash, and the Trap. So essentially, he didn't have a way to extend with like any monsters. So it was super unfortunate. Game 2, I think it was really a show of mastery out of Andres, but the fact that you can end on, like, look at what happened in that game. He ended on a full board, full including extra monster zone. He baited 2 interruptions for the puppet, right? The called by and the foolish return, and he still OTK'd him through that board.
Yeah,
he still OTK'd.
Crazy.
It was crazy, and that just shows you the limitations of Branded, even in this scenario where Andres literally had every single answer, but it just wasn't enough. And not only that it wasn't enough, he killed him that turn.
I
was really like, there's no way he's gonna kill him in one turn on like 5 monsters, and he did.
Yeah, Zealantis goes crazy. Like, it really causes a problem. And I think another thing that really makes that tournament harder than regular tournament is your opponent knows exactly what you're on. They know what outs you have. So as well, it's like that means his opponent. Like, I can't even imagine his mental stack, because it's like he knew how to deal with the board, but then he also had to remember in his head, okay, he's not playing this, I can play around this, can play around that. Like, I mean, his opponent, I can't remember, one something, I can't remember. He played it so incredibly, like, but yeah, it's a shame watching that. It's like,
I do think that's definitely going to spark a shift towards more of a pure variant of Snake Eye, just because of the hard negate, so to speak. And speaking to a couple of people, like a couple of my friends talked to regional, and they said exactly the same thing. They said the Viking stuff's great, pop in, removal's great, but nothing can just be a Barang negate says no. Like, I do think we're going to start seeing a little bit more of that, which is going to be interesting, because then cards like Dark Ruler might start coming back into the format. So,
definitely.
Because the return of like droplets and things like that.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
Well, PAX team in Costa Rica took the tournament with 3 pure Snake Eyes. We haven't seen lists yet, but the PAX team were playing pure.
Oh, lovely.
There you go.
One of the things about pure, as opposed to, I think you get like the same amount of 9 engine in Fire King, but maybe there's like 3 slots less depending on how you want to build it, or if you have to go over 40 or something like that.
So it's like in the Fire King, there's less room for non-engine, but the Fire King cards are utility themselves. Yeah. It's like Kirin is utility. You've got Circle, that's utility. You've got Uranix, which is pseudo utility in a way. Whereas in Pure, you have more space for actual extenders. We saw one was playing Magician Souls, which is absolutely insane in that deck, and things like that. And you have more space for hand traps.
Fusion, I've seen.
Exactly. Yeah, I do think that Fire King is stronger. I say it all the time. I think Fire King has a higher ceiling and is stronger, but I think the utility slots in Pure is kind of hard to beat. There's no deck that just can play that many utility slots, and also your engine is strong enough to play through hand traps. Like, it's really, really good. So it's going to be interesting to see. And as we saw as well, obviously carrying on that UDS, as we saw Jesse Cotton take the win on Fire King Snake Eye, and watching this guy's matches, oh my gosh, it was a roller coaster. Like, So the first match that I want to talk about is his match. Did we watch his match against Shumping Zhu? That was the most back and forth crazy match I've seen in ages. Like, it was nuts. It was like Shumping starts, and then it's like he gets hand trapped twice, passes. Then Jesse starts playing, then he gets hand trapped, then he gets droplets passed. Then goes back and forth. It was nuts. Into game 2 as well. It was a shame for Shumping, because I think he bricked really hard in game 2 or game 3 or whatever, which ended up with a loss. But watching them both play, watching guys at that skill level play on a deck like this, it is really, really, really enjoyable to watch. And what's interesting about Snake Eye and this format in general is that if you get stopped, you're like at such a high risk of dying. And the amount of stone, or like both Jesse, we saw Shumping have it as well. Jesse's match against Cam Neal, the first match, that was one of the most insane matches ever, where he held an imperm nib like so ridiculously long. It's like everyone was like, he was It was like, there's no way that's Nib. There's no way that's Imperm. There's no way that's Nib, and there's no way he has Imp in his hand. And then he's playing. Then eventually it's like, flip Nib, he has Nib. Then it's like, sorry, flip Imperm, he has Imperm. And then it's hand. Oh shit, he has Nib. Whole board gone. Hell. I was watching it. I was like, this is crazy. Like, it was such a fun match to watch.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Yeah, genuinely. Like, I think it is fairly undisputed. Like, people have been saying it kind of. Joshua Schmidt is obviously an amazing player too. But I think with this UDS win, it is kind of hard to dispute. Like, now, he's probably the most accomplished player because I think him and Chris. It's not Chris. What's that guy's name that has like 5 wins or whatever? Chris
LeBlanc.
Yeah, Chris LeBlanc. That's it. Yeah, I think they have the most YCSs, and then Jesse also has this as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think they both have 5.
Well, he's got a UDS and this.
Yeah, so like, I think really Jesse's hitting it. But I think, does anyone have anything to say about that match specifically before I move on to the other part of that match, which I think is very interesting?
Not about that specifically. I think I just do want to echo the point. It was a question I was going to ask actually today, but I think everyone unanimously seems to agree. Jesse's probably the greatest player of, like, I don't want to say any generation because I don't have the figures, but I think it's pretty undisputable to say right now he's the best in the game. There's no contest.
I think Joshua Schmidt's close, but I'd say.
Definitely not like trying to put dirt in anyone's name at all. But I think just the accolades are just so numerous.
Yeah, I think overall, just to wrap up the UDS event talk, I think it was a huge privilege to get to see those people play. I think it's very rare that you get to see, like, usually Top Cuts, you get some names in feature matches. Day ones are like just random people, you know, trying their best at a tournament. But this was basically banger after banger, or like a real lesson in every single match, because like everyone had, like, you know, Juan, I didn't know him before that. He was probably well known in his communities, maybe LATAM or even in America as well. But mad respect to just like insane players that are very versed in the game, and I think it was a real privilege. And I really am happy that Konami is doing things like that. Like they're trying, and I think it's paying off. People really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, definitely. It was really cool. Yeah. Oh, there was actually one last thing though that I did think was interesting, which was Jesse's match, how it ended. Unfortunately, Cam Neal was given a slow play DQ. So so if you watch that match, essentially game 1, and it's interesting because if you watch game 1, the way he lost was so like really tilting. Obviously, like he's played it really well, made maybe 1 or 2 very slight misplays that like any lesser player would easily make. And so obviously game 1, that's rattling. It's a big tournament, that's rattling. And then game 2, he's trying to OTK Jesse. Now, during this point, he does get a slow play warning for a couple of delays and such. And then it gets to the point, I think he has like a Celine on the board. Apparently, he didn't play Access Code in his extra deck. I don't know if that was true or not, but he didn't play Access. So he has a Celine, a bunch of other monsters, and he's trying to figure out a way to game. And then unfortunately, he gets a slow play warning upgraded to a disqualification. So what do we think about that, guys?
I was going to say I wanted to chime in on this early, and I think it's more so because I think Konami are trying to make it more of a spectacle, more of a viewer experience, and to have like a little bit of dead space in between like plays. It doesn't look good for like viewership, you know what I mean? Like if you think about like some of the games that happened before, there's a lot of back and forth. It's quick. There's hand traps being thrown. People are passing, and the crowd's like, "Oh, like he could win." Whereas you're just watching somebody thinking about plays, tapping the table. Like, it doesn't make much of a spectacle, and I think that's why there was such an emphasis on the DQ and it being upgraded, because it's like, come on, man, you're being recorded. It's live. Like, just play faster. Like, and do you know what I mean? And I think that's where the notion, because I reckon if he was at a regional, he might have just got the slow play warning, and that would have been it. Or maybe a bit of a nudge from the judge to say, come on, play a bit faster, please. Otherwise, we might have to upgrade it. Not just, all right, you're getting upgraded, like you're losing a match. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Just so I'm pretty sure out of all of us, none of us, other than you guys, none of us have been featured on like a high table like that before, have we?
I haven't been featured.
Oh, yeah, you've been in the final, so that's why it's going to go to my. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Because my question was going to be, as someone who's like been in like final, semi-final that high, what is the pressure like? Because everyone always says it like, but what is the pressure like?
For me personally, it kind of, I think it's different for like actual feature match. that is televised, that is streamed with an audience, even though UDS probably didn't have an audience, but it was still like, there's an added pressure of other people watching you.
Yeah.
In my finals, we had some people, we had a few judges. I think it was streamed locally. I was personally really locked in. I wasn't really nervous. Maybe a little bit towards the end, but not like, game 1, game 2. You need to be in the game. There's no reason to be nervous because you're already here in the finals. So might as well just play the deck and play it how you know.
Yeah.
In terms of like specifically Cam Neal, it's a very complicated game state.
Yeah.
And it's a very complicated deck. However, based on like, we were watching this as well, a few of my judge friends were also saying that time rules and penalties that are linked to slow playing it doesn't matter how complex the game state is. You always have to play at a reasonable pace. And you also need to like end up on like going somewhere. And maybe the fact that they realized that there was no way for him to continue playing afterwards, especially like he goes into Celine. We saw in his extra deck, there's no access code. There's no realistic way for you to actually win this or play. Yeah. So it happens. I mean, even though the game state is complex, it was still probably a little bit below reasonable. So that's why they had to like hand it to him. It sucks, but if you saw how Jesse plays, he plays incredibly fast.
He really does. Yeah. That's
part of the skill.
Well, I think it's like that group. Pack is a similar thing where it's like you watch them playing and they're just like shuffling cards, like cards are flying about there. But it's like at the same time, there's like an accuracy to what they're actually doing, right? Like they're playing fast, but they're playing correct, which is really, really cool. I guess the next thing we'll move on to, and I think we touched on it a little bit before, is obviously the general performance of Snake Eye in events. So as you said, the Costa Rica 3v3 has just gone on as well, and obviously Snake Eye taking it again there. So what do we think? So we talked about this a bit before the show as well, that we've heard some ban list talk and stuff. What do we think, guys? Do we think it's likely that we might see like any sort of an emergency list or anything like that?
No, man.
Next topic.
Not to give it a serious answer. I think we're clearly in a tier 0 format. Let's not beat around the bush. But I do think that there are other options that you can play. It's not a case as it was where it was in like maybe spiral format or like tier element format where you had to play a deck that was built to hard counter it. There's a lot of like, there are a lot of good picks that have like decent matchups, not only into Fire King but like into other stuff. The deck is also very new. Like Phantom Nightmare's been out like as of recording, like 2 or 3 weeks. Like this is one thing that I don't know about you guys, but this is something that I personally really don't like about the community. It's like as soon as something comes out that's like good, people want it like obliterated immediately, and it's like why? Like I'll hold my hands up. I'm not playing Fire King Snake Eye, but I'm not sitting here screaming like ban Poplar or whatever. Like I'm quite happy to just let the game go on. Does the deck need to be hit on a ban list? Obviously, it's fucked. But like, let the deck breathe in it. Like, we're gonna have a ban list before national season. We're gonna have a ban list before like Euros. So, like, yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I've answered. I think I've answered that. To your question, Fabs, no, I don't think there does need to be an emergency ban list.
Yeah, I think people are overreacting. I think this format is not as oppressive of a tier 0 format as some of the other ones. Like tier elements felt really oppressive. It's like you need to play tier elements or you play in a shifter deck. Whereas here, there are a few things that you could potentially play that could squeeze through, like Branded, for example. Like who would have thought Branded would just step back into like the meta and just be like, yeah, I'm here. I'm gonna try and do some stuff. Whereas before, like,
as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kashtira as well. Like it's not optimal, obviously, but it doesn't. It's not out of the realm of the possibility that something it could just go well for them. Do you get what I mean? Whereas in tier elements, you just felt like, all right, if I'm not playing tier elements, like, is it for Wonderies? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't think we need an emergency ban list. People just need to just suck it off, innit?
I think there's a lot of recency bias when it comes to these kind of things. I fully agree with Andre, by the way, because I think that it's not. I made a video about this morning, just discussing a little bit. Like everybody were like clamoring tier 0. I think it's a combination of recency bias because listen, we've had 2 tournaments that are not even standard tournaments. We had a UDS comprised of 16 of the best players in the game, which will obviously pick the best of the best decks to play. Also, like Dan said, it's a new deck. People are excited to play new cards, and I think that this is how it should be. I think that it was the same discussion when SP came out, and people were like, "Holy shit! Like, what is this card?" It was insane. However, Konami takes steps in order to take the game forward, and hitting those things are just taking the game backwards. This is exactly why I think like it's also not doing anything unreasonable. That's the whole point. Tier Elements was almost impossible for any deck to compete with. Here, it's just a new deck with infinite amount of resources. That is scary, but there are other strategies there, and I'm hoping. Costa Rica wasn't a standard event. It was a 3v3 and in Latin America. It's not the same as in Europe or North America. UDS, you should not count that as a real tournament. At least wait for Vegas and maybe even a little bit afterwards.
And we're in regional season as well. So like there's a lot of results there to build off of as well. Just to piggyback off Galzo's point there, before Fabs comes in and lets us know his thoughts. It's Shizu tier. Let's say that as that was the last tier format we had. That deck was. I would much rather play a tournament of 9 rounds versus Snake Eye Fire King than 9 rounds of a Shizu tier because the power level of that deck was just. It was it was point and silly. Fire King, Snake Eye Fire King. I've never once played against it and thought this is ridiculously like. I've thought, wow, this is good, but I've never thought like this is a problem. I've just thought, this deck's fucking sick. But yeah, Fab, sorry.
I won't take too much on this because I think I mentioned this last episode. But essentially, my only worry is that I'm biased because I like rescuers, so I get to use the engine. I'm worried that for the average player who doesn't have access to the wanted engine or who isn't playing a fire deck, it might not be fun for them. Me personally, I'll be fine. Konami, feel free to ban Snake Eye and then just leave the wanted engine. I'd be completely fine with that. While you're at it, make Airlift to go back to free as well. That would be great. But other than that, I don't think we need Emergency Madness. But it is interesting. It is interesting that that's the first thing that shoots out of everyone's heads. It's like, guys, let's ban the deck. Like let's start slapping it. But we are going to entertain it and encourage it because I will ask a question. If we were to put just one hit on the Snake Eye or Snake Eye Fire King deck, what would that hit be? What would we do to make it just a little bit more in line with the other decks right now?
I was actually talking about this with someone earlier today. I think if you want to actually like just hit the deck properly, you just ban the original spell so it gets a level 1 fire.
Oh, I feel like that would kill the deck, you know.
I don't think it would kill it.
Actually, no, it wouldn't. You're right.
It would kill it. I think it would obliterate the deck completely.
Yeah. It wouldn't be tier 1, definitely.
It would still be playable though, right? People were playing Thunder Dragon without Colossus. I mean, I don't know why, but people were playing Sky Striker without Engage.
These are interesting.
Who played Sky Striker without Engage?
But I think if you actually want to hit the deck, I think that's the right move to make. Like, or probably just 1 to 1. Like, is how I would hit it now. If it was like, you know, like on like a ban list, like where it has like the little clip in of a deck, like, and then the deck still proceeds to be nuts, and it's like, all right, okay, now we're gonna kill it. Like, I think that's how I'd like, 1 to 1, and just ban original.
Okay, interesting. 1 to 1 ban original.
I think it's got to be one of the spells. I'm just thinking about Dear Bowstar. She's only as good as the stuff that she can set. You know what I mean? So I do think it would have to be one of the spells, which is a little bit unfortunate. But I can't see them doing much to the wanted stuff. But
really?
Yeah, not for now. Just because there's semi putting more support out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I feel like they're gonna want everybody to have all their tools at their disposal before they decide to like hit it. And I do think you're right, Dan. I think the original Sinful Spoils is probably gonna be the one that takes it out for the team.
Ooh, what do you think, girls?
So I think hitting OG is rough. I think actually when you're playing pure, it doesn't actually come up that often. You don't really rely on OG to play. Sometimes you even search for it, and you don't need to use it at all. You sometimes don't just use it. Right, what it does now in pure is get you jet synchron, which is good, but it doesn't necessarily alter the end board that much. I think it's a very severe hit, though. I'm gonna have to say that it's a very, very big hit. I'm gonna say something that people are gonna be a little bit surprised to hear, but I think the first hit will or should be Zealantis. Just banning Zealantis altogether.
Okay.
I don't think any of the new cards need to be hit. I think that if there's a problem, Zealantis has always been on the verge of just being absolutely insane and bannable. And I think it's showing when you have a deck that can utilize it, and we see that. There is no reason why you should be able to OTK a branded board with 5 monsters on it with 1 monster. Like with
That's
1 Snake Eyes Ash. There is no reason why you should do that. Because think about that game without Zealantis.
Yeah.
Andres gets another turn. So I think that would be the only reason that would be the only reasonable hit for me right now. Doesn't touch any of the new cards, doesn't touch any of the engine cards. Just fuck that card. It doesn't it's fine. I mean, that card had it coming, and it is time.
Yeah. I think if you were going to make like a small, like, not like a small hit, but like a preliminary hit to like just make it not so tier 0, I do think that's actually a really good point that I'll be honest, I didn't think about it.
I like that hit because it does address some of the problems. The biggest problem is their ability to kind of just OTK through anything with Zealantis. My only fear is you just start playing access code again. And then
I think access code is a bit more dealable with, right?
I mean, you guys know I hate access code. I think that card should be banned. I don't like that card at all.
I also
yeah. But I like this. But I actually agree with Galzamo. I think yes, in pure, because in pure essentially, like most of the time, you either hold original to play around Nib, other hand traps, or use Poplar to search a field spell instead to play around Nib. So original doesn't actually stop the deck, but I still think it's too big of a hit. I don't think it's really deserved. I'd probably take Wanted to like 1 or 2, just because it makes the deck weaker to draw. I don't like this new thing of we search in the draw phase. It really gets on my nerves. I don't. Yeah, like, what's going on? Like, yeah, what's the point of there's one hand trap that deals with it, then it's like you can't play it. So maybe like.
No, man, you thought it was all right when you were activating opening.
Oh, I mean. Look, I always been random player at heart. Yeah, but yeah, for me,
I do hear you.
That's a good point.
But what I want to quickly pivot into is sorry. Everyone's really talking to me today. Right. What I really want to quickly pivot into just before we talk about a special question I've got for everyone is the fact that we finally had a tournament announced on this side of the pond.
Finally.
It only took like half the year, and the tournament's not for another 5 months, but Euros has been announced. It is going to be in Berlin. So, I mean, it is awesome. We've got an event. Having said that, that sounds like the fact that they're announcing Euros this early, because Konami usually announces it like 1 or 2 months before. That says to me that I don't think we're getting a YCS. Maybe London if we're lucky, but I don't think we're getting a YCS or anything. So interesting. What do you think about Euros, guys?
It'll be fun. I guess it is weird that it's been announced this early. And like yourself, Fabs, I'm not in any great hopes of a YCS in Europe before Euros, which is a shame, but we'll always have Nats, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, they could announce something at the end of April, beginning of May.
True.
Still, I would say Bologna, I think, was a little over 2 months out. It wasn't that long before.
Oh, okay.
I remember that. So
yeah,
it's kind of weird though. I think there's something that we're not aware of in terms of Konami in the EU. Just it doesn't really make sense. The fact that there's no YCS announced. I think there's something like weird about it. I think Berlin is good. We're gonna have fun in Berlin, but it's good that they announced it. However, it is really weird. I think something is going on there that we're just not aware of.
There's a few of my friends that were in our group, and they said the same thing that you said, Galzo. But I also think it's got something to do with maybe like the 25th anniversary. Maybe they're gonna.
That's a good point.
Drop something or do like have some weird like last minute announcement and say, look, 25 years of Yu-Gi-Oh, here we go, and do something that way. Because like you said, it's a bit weird that they've announced it so far out. Like, yes, people need to prep and sort out accommodation and all that kind of stuff, but maybe there's a little bit more to it that they haven't decided to let us in on, if you get what I mean. So I don't know. That was just a thought. That's just a thought that I had. But yeah, it should be good.
Berlin's a good city as well. I'm excited to go there. I've never been to Germany, so I'm very excited. Do some sightseeing and all of these and enjoy it. And also, it's not going to be too cold. Fingers crossed as well. So. Yeah, I can't like doing YCSs in wet and cold weather. When we went to Bologna, the weather was not great, and
you rather sweat around 2,000 other people because that's what I'm smelling right now.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, no, I am excited. I'm very excited about Bologna. But I have a question because we asked MBT this, and I would really want to see what your answer is going to be, Galzo. So, if you could go back in your YouTube career to day one when you got started, what would you do differently?
Wow, that is hard because I think MBT and myself, obviously, he's been around, I think, for like 7 years, I would say. I went into his channel after I saw the episode, which you all should watch or listen to if you haven't still. The great episode with MBT. What would I have done differently? That's a really hard question. I think that I kind of came into it really prepared. It wasn't just like a bedroom style webcam thing. It was more like right off the get-go, I knew I wanted to take it seriously, so I got a little bit of a nicer camera and a mic, and I'm also a graphic designer by trade, so I knew how to like do all the things and not just make it janky. I think that what I kind of hate to see now from like where I'm at is all the I did like a lot of box openings back then, which were like if you're not like Ruxin or something, it doesn't really work today. If you're not bringing anything, like just opening a set, it's fun. It was fun for me, but I don't have a lot of regrets or things that would change because the moment I realized that branded caught on, I kind of leaned into that really quickly, and it just provided, you know?
Yeah.
No regrets, man.
Love it. That's what we love to hear. That's how it should be, man. Awesome. Yeah. So, and I know, leaning into more questions like that, I know that I don't know if it's Dan or Andre, you guys both have a couple more questions as well.
Yes.
I think this was from Andre, something that you started doing for our guests, Andre. If you want to walk us through that little do that.
Yeah, so just as a quick preface, I just asked a couple of subscribers what they would like to ask some of the more prominent YouTubers, so to speak, and we've had a few questions in, so I've just got a couple here that I'm gonna fire off, Galzo, if you just want to give us your thoughts on it. So, one that we definitely wanted to ask for, and this is open to everyone, but I'll let you go first, Galzo. What's your pet peeve at locals?
Ooh, I think recently it changes. I think that recently it's people kind of being salty and losing their shit a little bit. It started happening a lot. I'm not sure how everyone's locals is probably different. And it's a matter of age or like maturity and stuff like that. But it's been like, I've seen a lot of players like getting extremely tilted recently. To the point where, like, you know, I know these guys. They're in my locals. I feel comfortable like talking to them, and I was like, "Listen, dude, you shouldn't be like losing your shit over this at locals. I mean, it's making everyone feel really uncomfortable." He's like, "No, man, I keep getting trolled and like Dark Ruler, and I keep getting sagged, and I can't fucking do it anymore." I'm like, dude, you were summoning Rubina 2 months ago. Like, what are you talking about? So I think like now that would be I really love going to locals. I also really hate when people come in like sick. which is like a pet peeve for like living in society. But sometimes people would be like
coughing on your cards and shit. Yeah,
like this is the only this is the only time I leave the house. I don't want to catch something when I come here.
Yeah.
So I think that those would be it.
Well, what about you, Dan?
So I'm like Galzo, you know, I enjoy going to locals a lot. It's a lot of my free time is spent playing with cardboard. I do have a few things that really irk me though. One of them is, I don't want to say too much, but like, you know, when people just aren't appropriate at locals, because like, you know, the local card shops are like, you know, for anyone in it. Like you have you can have younger children there, you can have like whatever, and you see people just like maybe with like some pretty inappropriate accessories, or maybe wearing some, you know, a little inappropriate, and he's just like, come on, man! Like you're not at home. Like just let's leave the Dark Magician Girl Field Center like in the binder, right? Like, come on. Yeah, like,
+1.
we've all been there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something that really like irks me, because I just think it makes like us all just look like a bunch of weird pervs to outsiders. Like, not that we are, but well, I can't speak for everyone. But I guess that, and just like hygiene. Like hygiene's a big one for me. Like I don't like it in general when people sort of like stink. Sorry,
good luck in Berlin. July in Berlin, man.
Nah, if it's like really hot or whatever, like if it's like a heat wave, that's different in it. But like, you know, when you can just tell someone's like, you know, not even bothered to brush their teeth or something, it's like, come on, man.
That's like biological warfare, man.
Yeah, trust me, I'm not about that. I don't mind losing to Shifter, but I don't want to lose to like bad breath. Yeah. That's me, I think. That's me. Just keep it clean in both senses.
Man, so I'm not just being ironic. I hate slow players. It pisses me off. Yeah, if I'm playing like one of the things that I hate the most is like, I know you've lost. You know you've lost, and you're still playing and you're shuffling. Well, like, what are you thinking about? You got one card and I've got like 6 cards on board. There's nothing. You've lost. Just scoop. You're wasting my time. So I can't like that. Yeah,
I hope you're saying that. I hope you're really saying that. I do sometimes. I do. I don't know. I mean, we're not a polite people here, but maybe not as the UK. But I would say, listen, you know you got nothing. Keep playing or scoop.
So funnily enough, I'm actually going to tell this story. It happened relatively recently at a locals where someone has a semi-bad habit of sometimes slow playing, and they even asked me after, and I've told them before. I'd like to think I'm quite upfront at locals and stuff like that. So it's like it's happened in the past where he was slow playing someone else. I remember he was playing Sword Soul, and he had one card. He had no cards in hand. Opponent was playing Pearly, had full board. He top decks Moye. You're playing Sword Soul, so you already know. It's doing nothing. It's Moye. You got. I don't know what he had in grave, but there's no cards because Pearly's like violated his whole grave, and he's sitting. He's like thinking, and it was
about what the weather.
Yeah, and it's like, you guys know the guy who plays Pearly, and he's quite a chill guy. So he's just acting calm about. But I was just slowly getting more and more vexed, and I was like, you can't do this, you know. I was like, you can't do anything. I was like, just pass. I was like, what are you thinking about? Like, it really got on my nerves. And so recently I was playing that same guy again, and after the game he asked me like, oh, does Bobby? And I was like, mate, look, 'cause I do get like sometimes you really want to see what you're doing and all of this, but I was like, fundamentally speaking, if you're playing a deck, you need to know what it does. And sometimes when you say thinking and stuff, if I was in a tournament, I'll call a judge and say you're slow playing because you can't actually do anything. So yeah, me personally, I can't. I take the pill. Slow players don't slow play.
I do think there is a bit like, not maybe like slow playing, but I think there's a bit of a difference. Like if you're taking a deck to a locals for the first time, like you are, and you are still learning some of the lines. I think if you just say to your like, it's my first locals deck, like I might take a little bit. They're gonna be fine in it. Like, so just, you know what I mean? Like, just say that. But slow playing, like, just when you know you've lost, that's annoying.
Yeah. Just do you know what it is as well? It's because, and Yu-Gi-Oh has this unique situation. It's a card game thing. You don't really see it when you play like Call of Duty or like League or whatever. In Yu-Gi-Oh, every decision you make is like you have an opportunity to actually choose about a decision. So in League, when I'm choosing to hit a creep or when I'm choosing to use a skill, it's reaction. It just has to happen straight away. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you can think about something. And sometimes there's the illusion of choice because you have the option to draw a card and look at it and pretend you have options, and that allows people. And sometimes it's information overload. You've drawn a card and you're really thinking, is there anything I can do? But sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, that's also just scoop. But yeah, let's move. Andre, what's your pet peeve?
Mine is really simple. Just food. There's one locals that I go to. I hate when somebody sits down and chews with their mouth open, but I hate to see crumbs on my mat. Like, we're here to play Yugioh.
Oh
like,
no!
If I want lunch, I'll go to like Greg's or something like that. Just put the food away and let's play cards. Don't be eating your baguette over the table and then trying to summon a Luma and do stuff. Like, no, stop it. But yeah, just food. Just food. All right. One more question. This is probably going to be an easy one, but if you were to animate a Yu-Gi-Oh lore story, what would you like to see?
Wow, that's got to be a thinker, innit, Galzo?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere between Melfi and... No, I'm kidding.
What? I was like, does Melfi even have a story? Like, what's going on?
Hey, wait, you didn't see the Chronicles? They had a Melfi, like 10 seconds of Melfi.
He was having lunch in the park.
Yeah, Rabbi was...
Basically.
Yeah.
Rabbi were like chilling. It's obviously easy, but I think... I want to hope it's obviously easy for anyone. If you don't know me, then the answer is Fallen of Albaz. I think the story is, and I grabbed all yours answers, so you now have to come up with something new. I think it really deserves a story.
Yeah,
it really deserves like an anime. It just deserves like expanding on the story, to be honest, because I think like working for so long, like they released cards for like 3 years. There's obviously like a connecting story behind the scenes because they had to have come up with that because it makes sense. Yeah. They also wrote it in the lore guide. So I'm saying like it's not only justified, it's probably out there. They just need to put it into like animation form, and I'm really, really hoping that Konami Animation can do something with that. Yeah.
Fair.
Really?
Fair.
Yeah. I do think that like you said, Galzo, everything's there. It just needs to be sort of like made in animation. My answer is very simple. It's anything but Sky Striker. I just think it's had enough like attention from Konami. Like let's share the love across the class, shall we?
Has the Sky Striker got a manga already? Or am I thinking?
Yeah. A serious answer would be like probably like one of the dual terminals. I'm not sure which one off the top of my head. I always like Necroza, but like something to do with that would be pretty cool. Yeah, cool. But there's a lot of different ones that you could choose. I don't think there's any wrong answers. Like, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Apart from Sky Striker.
Just jumping in before Fabs gets to go. I'm going to say Sky... No, I'm not going to say Sky Striker. I would really like to see the... You know from the animation that we've seen, the Sky Crisis Zeus. I'd love to see that. That looks
Zeus and Typhon.
Yeah, Zeus and Typhon. That I don't know what it would come under, but like something Sky, because both of them are just involved. It's like Gundams, but like it looks... Yeah, that really hit home when I seen that. I was like, that would be really good.
Yeah. Funnily enough, that's the only one that I actually saw because my mate posted it in our group chat, and like it looked epic. Seeing like them fight.
You didn't see the whole thing?
Nah,
it's worth a watch. Legitimately, like,
I only 6 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't watch.
There's no fire.
No, you're not serious, man. Please promise me. Please promise me.
I want to say I have an excuse, but I've been watching Good Girls on Netflix. That's been where my time's been going.
6 minutes, dude.
But yeah, I'll watch it, guys. That's my homework for next episode. I'll have it watched. But yeah, me personally, I picked Dark Lords. I think Dark Lords has a really cool story. Yeah, I think Dark Lords has probably like the third best. It used to be the best artwork in the game, but there are at least 2 archetypes I can think of now that have better artwork than Dark Lords. One of them is Albaz. One of them is Ashen. So yeah,
an Ashen anime would go hard.
Yeah, like I would actually say, like undisputed, like Ashen, in my opinion, is probably the best both thematically and artwork in the game. And then after that, I'd say Albaz, and after that, I'd say Dark Lord. So yeah, but I would want Dark Lord anime because I think it's cool. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, that's it from me for today.
Love it. Right, Dan, have you got any questions, or do you want me to move on to something?
I think we can move on to one of the topics, Fabs. I'm pretty talked out. I feel like I've been a bit more talkative than I've been previously, so I don't want to hog the mic.
No problem at all. So, what's been really, really interesting, guys, is that we've looked at Legacy of Destruction coming out, and the Dear Bellstar archetype, as we said already, is getting a lot of new support. But other than Dear Bellstar and Legacy of Destruction, are there any decks that we are looking at and we're like, this is going to be a pretty cool little bit of experimentation in Legacy of Destruction? And I'll bring it up in case we need a little bit of a refresher.
I can kick this off. I think we've been doing a new series, shamelessly plugging it on my channel, with a new website called Meta Duelist, which is run by Sleeve Chief and Nesh and a few OCG guys that are just incredible at gathering resources. And we've been doing like this 10-minute episodes every few weeks, like a meta forecast. So I've been really diving in each week into like what's actually happening in the OCG. I've got two things that I'm excited about. One of them is illusions, because we're getting two new powerful illusion monsters, like really, really good illusion monsters. So one of them is Nightmare Apprentice, which is an absolutely busted card that is very scary for the future. Like right now, it seems a little bit tame, but every time you print an illusion monster, you have to keep that in mind, that this card can add it and can special summon itself for free. Crazy card. And then the new Diabellstar counterpart, which is Diabells of the original Sin, which is a floodgate. It's an anti-spell illusion monster, but it's so sick. So I think I'm really, really excited about that. I think the other thing that has been kind of popping up recently, it's going to be in the next meta forecast, so make sure to check it out, is Tenpai Dragon, which is the new Fire Dragon archetype that is kind of stupid. A bunch of monsters that are unaffected by card effects during the main phase. And then during the battle phase, they just hit you with 30,000 damage. Kind of stupid, kind of fun. I think it's kind of gimmicky, but also like, I think for people who really like card artwork and stuff, I think it's going to be a pleasure for them because these look really, really sick. So these two are like probably like the biggest ones for me out of Legacy of Destruction.
Yeah, and Tenpai's actually got beaten by it today. It was mad. I was playing Fire King Snake Eye on Edo Pro, and I think he attacked me like 12 times in the battle phase. It's ridiculous. Like I just kept summoning monsters. I was like, "There's no way I'm dying. There's no way I'm dying." Then it's like, yeah, there was a point where he had two synchro monsters on the board, and then like one pops the other, and it gets like 3 attacks. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I died.
I've seen in the OCG people are siding a Tenpai Smokescreen like for going second, like in decks that don't use a lot of their extra deck, like Whisper's Voice, Labyrinth, things like that. One to watch, man. I'm probably going to be picking it up. I'm a big fan of ignorant decks.
Yeah, we're going to see Battle Fader get bought out now. That's going to be that's going to be the beast spice. Are they ultimate rare Battle Faders?
You don't need Battle Fader when you got Spirit of Yugioh.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Andre, what about you?
This is just usual for me, but I'm kind of interested in Valmonica. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the deck. The mechanic seems unique. It's like good, bad. Like you get benefits from both, but one's obviously a little bit more beneficial. And the new monster that comes out just kind of basically, I wouldn't say solves the archetype, but allows it to be a little bit more playable on a rogue level. So I'll definitely take that to locals. Like I wouldn't take it anywhere serious, but it looks really interesting, man. I'm excited for that. Plus, you can play Plan B, so. The Goose is always a card, isn't it?
Shout out to the guy at our locals who's been forcing with Valmonica Centurion. It does not work. I can confirm. He even told me it does not work. I remember the first time he showed me, and he has the full Horus engine. He was playing Centurion Horus. He was battering locals, and then he came to me. He's like, "Oh, Simeon, I just put in the Valmonica cards," and I was like, "Oh." Then he's like, "Yeah, it doesn't work." I was like, But shout out to him.
So good.
Got a bit of a new play. He'll be interesting.
I'm also a Volmanica believer. Shout out, Andre.
Yeah, it is definitely a lot more playable next format. It's going to be interesting. I think for me, I've said it before, guys. Melodious. Look, guys, if you guys looked at the OCG Road of the King, you would have seen a little sliver where Melodious is taken over. I'm telling you, the guys now, look. Tenpai Dragon, you can't attack because you can't destroy my Melodious cards by battle. So yeah, I mean, I think Melodious is going to be putting in a little bit of work with that area lock. That's definitely what I'm looking forward to. I like Archetype as well. I think it's cool. I like and they've got their own branded fusion as well, which is always cool. So
yeah, it's pretty nice.
I like the idea of it. Like, you know, when they banish and then they come back, it's like an encore, isn't it? I like the idea of that, and that seems. I've got my core already, by the way. Like, I was very Melodious, but
very, very cool archetype. Yeah, the way the whole thing is designed is very interesting. But yeah, Valmonica is going to be very, very cool. Well, okay, we're going to move into our last topic of the day. Now, it's been an absolutely amazing year so far for Yugioh, I think. We've had a lot of really cool product release and all of this stuff. And we've had Rarity Collection 2 announced. So, for this year, what are you looking forward to? What do you want to see in terms of more Konami products? So it could be other IP. So this could even be like more games and stuff. Like maybe like for example, how they're releasing an anime. You could be looking for a game on a console. You could be looking for a specific type of product, more starter decks, maybe even a board game. What are you guys looking forward to? What do you want to see for this year of Yu-Gi-Oh?
I think for this year specifically, this is the 20th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. So I'm excited to see legacy support that isn't just more crap heroes. Like there's enough of them already. Like shout out to all
you got crap you bells.
hey. We've
well, they're not crap. Honestly, they're not crap.
No, they're not. They're great in it. That's it. They actually had a fusion reveal today that was nuts.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to just some of the collector's items that are going to be made available. Just things that would be cool to have, like the figurines. They've released some of the GX ones. There's Flame Wingman one. There's a Rainbow Dragon one, I want to say. Just nostalgia bait. I think it'd be cool to have like a new Yu-Gi-Oh game akin to something a little bit different, like Tag Force or Duelist of the Roses, or what's it called? The PS1 one, Forbidden Memories, something like that. Yeah. Honestly, like I'm just quite happy to see whatever it is that comes up with, and as long as it's not a load of new hidden Arsenal I'll be happy.
Side note, does anyone here enjoy Hidden Arsenal? Is there anyone that it comes out and you're like, no? Just check it. I wanted to know who the target demographic is for that, but yeah.
Nash. Shout out to Nash, but I think you were the only guy excited, bro.
But Andre, do you want to go next with what you'd be looking forward to?
I'd love some 25th anniversary body spray from Konami. Just
yo,
that good dummy.
I'm joking. For me, I just like a nice mat. I do have quite the collection of mats. I would love for Konami to release a cloth play mat, just like as a bit of a bit of something for the 25th anniversary. Yeah, that would be really, really good. But yeah, just a nice mat, like something that I could potentially like frame and just put on the wall somewhere. So
that would be very cool.
Yeah. I agree. Hey, what about you guys?
I got 3 things. They're very modest. I got like 10, but I'm gonna keep it down to 3. First of all, I want the Albaz collection to come to the TCG.
Yeah,
I first of all want the. I think I'll preface this with something in Konami has changed, and it's really, really good. And I'm loving 2023-24 Konami. I really, really like with everything that's happening. 25th anniversary celebrations, like so many awesome and like unique stuff that like you said, Fabs, like not only cards. It's like really like we got an anime, we got like UDS events, like really, really cool. First thing, the Albaz collection. I want to have it already, but I really wish that it would come out in the TCG as well. I think a lot of people will be really happy with that. Yeah. The second thing, I want one Master Duel season where there's separate TCG and OCG ladders based on the current Forbidden Limited lists. They could even add all the cards. They don't really have a problem with that. It doesn't have to be an older format. It could also happen. They're already catching up. I think that for me personally, I really enjoy the experience of playing Master Duel as a game and as a product, but it sucks because of Maxi and Best of One.
Yeah.
So I come from this industry sort of, so I understand the fact that Best of Ones are better for conversion. You need to be playing more games. You need to be losing and winning more. But still, they experimented with the TCG event a little bit. And I wish they would do like one season where there's a TCG ladder. And the last thing is, even though you mentioned like the 25th anniversary, I want Starlight Rares back.
Oh.
Okay.
Do you know what? I think you're actually the first person who has justified for me the Best of One in Master Duel. Before today.
What's the reason for that?
Yeah, I was trying to. I couldn't work out why they did that, but that actually makes so much sense.
Well, I think there's an OCG. Some OCG tournaments are played best of one.
Yeah.
So I think this is why they originally made it and designed it this way. But the reason why they kept it this way is that or decided that this would be the standard for everyone and this would be the format, is that it's the same thing with Duel Links too, I think. I never played Duel Links, but I assume it's best of ones and there's no side. The idea of a side deck is more complicated, it's less accessible, and if you play more games, you win more and you also lose more. And you mentioned Call of Duty beforehand.
Yeah.
Call of Duty has something that is called SBMM, which is skill-based matchmaking, which alters your opponents based on whether they want you to lose right now or not.
Yep.
And there's always going to be data whether like you need to lose at this specific point right now in order to be motivated to play more. Like, okay, I won like 4 in a row. I need to lose now in order to go back, deck build, maybe open some packs, get back into the pool. It's just product experience. It's just like making money. I think it's fine, but I just want to play TCG and Master Duel because the product itself as a video game is excellent, in my opinion. It's amazing. It just sucks that the format is like for streamers.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, and I think you at least
learn something new every day.
And by the way, I'm also a product person, and I did not figure this out, so we can confirm that. Yeah, I'm definitely not very good at my job, but yeah. The Starlight one as well. I think a lot of people have been kind of like a lot of collectors are like in a frustrated point where it's like they feel like, oh, we don't want to be collectors anymore because like our cards won't hold value. So it's interesting so that you have that perspective. I don't know, me personally, I'm like whatever. But yeah, I know
I'm not a collector. I just don't like
Yeah.
QCRs. I don't like the way it looks.
How they look.
That's fair.
I don't know. I don't know which one. No. I think I like Starlight's better actually. I don't think I dislike QCRs, but I think I do like Starlight's better. But me personally, I want to see more things like board games and stuff like that. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh is a really cool game, and like even if not just board games, even like even if it's not specifically an actual board game, but like a different way of exploring the Yu-Gi-Oh universe, but in a game. So the example I'll give is Dragon Ball Z. That's like my favorite game, and the way I got into Dragon Ball Z was through the PS2 game. I never watched Dragon Ball Z when I was little. I never read it when I was little, but I played Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi. Yeah, I played 1, 2, and 3 on PS2, and then that developed a love for it. And then I went back and I watched and read it. Now I'm in this position now, and I've never watched Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I've never watched or been into it like that. I've never read it. But if there was perhaps a game where I could play through the story and stuff, a newer game, I don't want some old Game Boy Advance game or something, a new game where they developed it, that might be a way to get players like me who are interested a little bit to kind of experience the story in a new way. So I'd be really excited for that. I think it'll be cool. Like it could be a board game, it could be a PS2 game, just some sort of different way of experience Yu-Gi-Oh would be quite cool. Because I do think Yu-Gi-Oh has a cool story, and there's like 10 different, there's like GX and 5Ds and all of these different ones.
RB and all that.
There's a lot of content to work with. That's what I would want to see for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Good shows. The only thing I'll say about that, Fabs, is I do think it's a little bit too late to be making a new PS2 game.
Let him cook.
I'm showing my age now. Yeah, it's kind of wild. That's in PS2. Yeah, PS2 is my PS2 is still in my living room. By the way, it's still my favorite console. But yeah, guys, with that, we are going to close off this awesome episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh show. Guys, so thank you so much for coming on, bro. And tiny bit before we wrap up, you mentioned bits of it, but I know that you're doing a little bit of a something that our users be interested in. Do you wanna drop that for us?
Yeah, sure. Just first of all, thank you guys so much for hosting me. It's always a pleasure. I hope to be back sometime in the future as well.
Please.
So thank you so much. We have actually started our own show called Table Zero. It's hosted by me and Fi. You might have not heard of him, but you will, because the guy is absolutely killing it on YouTube. So check him out. So Table Zero is strictly Yu-Gi-Oh competitive. It's event coverages, and it's meta breakdowns, and it's just strictly competitive, nothing around it. We usually will try to do that before events. It's hosted currently on my channel, so youtube.com/Galzo, and it's also on Spotify, and it's going to be on Apple Podcasts as well. So make sure to check it out. And again, thank you for listening, everyone at home, and thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. It's good to have you, bro. So yeah, guys, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you back. Also, if you are still watching the episode at this point in it and you're not subscribed, you're mugging me off. Like, yeah, it's an hour in. Yeah, hit the subscribe button. At this point, it's quite complex. So I'm not happy. Yeah,
I'm gonna clip that and put it at the end of my videos. This is gold.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, guys, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you all soon. Peace.
Peace.
All right, great episode, guys. That was